Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. I'm the channel owner here, Wood. Definitely got to get into some bite down boxing presented by Pay Me No Mind. Really quickly, let me put this disclaimer out there. I know a couple of weeks ago, I'm doing a, I'm only gonna do two or three X amount of days in the wake up, a countdown to this weekend's big fight between Andy Ruiz Jr. and Anthony Joshua, as Eddie Hearn in the UK refers to him. I'm gonna do the countdown because I am gonna watch the fight. A couple weeks ago, before the Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz fight, I didn't do a countdown to that fight, and it wasn't because I had anything against the fight. I just knew I wasn't going to be watching the fight because it was my wife's birthday, and you know. But I had mentioned I did not. I had no intentions of purchasing that fight. So keeping it funky, I didn't see the need to go and address that fight on a daily basis. You know, I just was out of pocket that week, and that's that. So I'm talking about this because I think Andy Ruiz Jr. Forced it to be somewhat of a mega event, a big time event. And, I'm going to watch the fight this weekend because it's part of my subscription to the zone. So, a little housekeeping out of the way right away. Going into this fight, man, for today's topic, I kind of want to touch base on the one night documentary that I think it's 38 minutes in total. I thought it was pretty well done. I actually heard the female who put it all together. I heard her in an interview last week, I want to say on Sirius XM. It has Stallone in it with the obvious tie-in to Rocky and the Rocky storyline. Dolph Lundgren was in it. Drago. Michael Strahan, probably because he's local in New York City and was available to sit down. Was Peter Berg on there? Maybe not. Some other individual. Eddie Hearn makes an appearance. Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson kind of steals the show. Evander Holyfield, James Buster Douglas, Dan Rayfield, some other writers. So you get all these different perspectives, and I think it was pretty well done, man. I think it's one of the better promotional pieces that the Zone has put together, and hopefully it. One of the big problems for the app is that it doesn't have anywhere to really advertise what it's doing, which is somewhat counterintuitive to me because an app that's living online, on devices, there's plenty of advertising on those devices. But I don't know if that advertising kind of resonates the same way because a lot of that stuff you're probably skipping. People are probably skipping to get to what they really want to see, or what they're actually using that app for versus looking at that advertisement. So I don't know, but I guess my takeaways from it, man, are the fact that and I haven't settled on my winner for this fight yet. But I think one of the things that kind of disappointed me coming out of the first fight was people opted to only look at Anthony Joshua in the rematch based on from when he got hurt and when he got stopped. And I just kind of don't agree with that, trying to analyze and be a little, analytical of what to expect in a rematch. You just can't skip over the fact and I mentioned the three or four things that I thought were positives for Anthony Joshua to build on going into the rematch. And I said that I don't think that Andy Ruiz Jr. has to do much because he is a complete fighter, or he's certain in himself and what he's about. So I don't think and with the coming off a big win, he doesn't really have to go do much soul searching and put anything back together. He just needs to tighten up a few things. The one night reinforced some of my early takeaways, though, from the fight. You know, you just can't tell me that a guy that knocked down a guy for the first time in his career did it in 3 rounds. You can't tell me that there's not some things that he can put together to enhance his likelihood of getting his hand raised Saturday. I have questioned, McCracken sticking with him. I still haven't heard anything directly from McCracken to get a sense of if he's capable of laying out the path and the formula for how they can win. And, that's one of the, he's not one of those types of trainers that you regularly hear from. It was a line in there, though, that he said, I think he said Joshua asked him what's going to work or something. Or how do I do it? And he said, just your left, right, left, right, left, right. And I was like, I missed that on fight night, but I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, my man is out here going through it, and you just tell him left, right, unless he was saying stick with the 1-2. I can somewhat understand that. But left, right, left, right, left, right, it sounds like somebody trying to swim or something. But so yeah, like I said, I think I would say check it out. I don't know if it's available on YouTube. It should be. It shouldn't be something that's just behind the app's paywall. You should want everybody to check that out, or as many people as possible to check that out, and try to drive those new subscribers and whatnot. And so on and so forth with their business model and their strategies for taking care of that. But other than that, man, just another minute or so. I think one thing that's two things. Today, when I woke up, man, I just saw that supposedly AJ's been dropped again in practice or in sparring in preparation for this fight. I don't know how much stock I'm even going to put into that. A lot of stuff would have to be going wrong in that camp for you to make us the same mistake at the same exact point. So I don't know how much stock I put into that. Another thing that's out there, secondly, to see Joshua, he's a terrible trash talker. And I see maybe he's trying to get into that space that we see Deontay Wilder go into when he needs to have disdain, and hatred towards his opponent, and needs to transform into, savage and all of that. And maybe this is his way of doing it, but it leaves questions there of what his psyche is all about and where he's at with this thing. But, a couple weeks ago, he said something about, I want to see people bow down before my feet. Today, I saw a quote where he said, when I win, I want to say, F everybody. And that's partially what I said after the fight was like, he really needs to understand that, especially over on this side of the pond, it seems like the majority, a lot of people do not want to see him succeed. And it would behoove him to harness that, understand that, lose that nice guy persona during fight week, and really understand what's at stake here. Now you're going back against a man who dropped you 4 times and took your titles and you're a large part of your identity. And like I said, I don't kind of like the way that he's talking to trash, but if that's the headspace that he needs to get into to go into this challenge, I guess, he's doing what he has to do. What was the last thing? I think that's about it. We've seen the different looking physique. So I guess I just kind of keep it at that, man. I mean, like I said, basically check out the. I would suggest check out the one night if you're interested in the fight. And again, I just feel like there's definitely I guess like without getting into my full breakdown of it, I feel like just based on the two fighters, just what we know, I feel like there's a way that he can manage his way from today without me seeing anything else, hearing anything else up until fight night. I do believe that there is a formula for him where he can manage his way, much like a quarterback manager. That's just a game managing quarterback. I feel like just with his abilities, his size, his strength, all the physical attributes and whatnot, I feel like there's a way that he could manage his way to a decision. We saw that the referee is going to be Luis Papon. I think Feldman was one of the referees. That article is out there. All of the different officials have been announced. I don't think, sadly, I don't think the referees really come into play this week. But anyway, yeah, man, it's a lot of stuff that could go on, and a lot of different storylines and things. The narrative could be a million different things this week, man. Really, I just want to stick to a well-fought bout first. We'll see what all comes out of that, and if the judges have to get involved, if Pabon does a bad job refereeing, I'll cross those bridges when I come to it. But for the most part, I mean, what commission is in place, what kind of testing is going on, is questions of that. Again, none of that stuff is my responsibility. I can't affect any of that. It's not. I don't have authority over any of that. So I'm looking at the fight itself. So let me get on off of here, man. Let me get out of here. Get back to this Monday after the long break. Bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind. Sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.